here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think that God was the sun. God is the sun, and God so much more than the earth and the stars or all of creation. God is creator, all in all, needing us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Good morning. Let's give it up for our wonderful musicians today. B. DeVoe on vocals and Doug Jones on piano. B actually has gone through our youth church way back when, maybe not that far back, and has sung, actually sang, you sang on the stage when you were about this tall? See what we do in our youth? We grow good humans. Welcome to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, where we teach spiritual principles and practices that nourish us, uplift us, and celebrate our oneness with all of life. And if that weren't enough, sometimes we even have ice cream. Happy last Sunday in July. Amazing how it's flying by. I am Robert Leeds, your host for today, keeping you alert with my loud shirt. A special welcome to those of you who are joining us for the very first time. Is there anyone here for the very first time? If you wouldn't mind raising your hand. We have a welcome packet for you. There you go. Terrific. We're so glad you're joining us here in the sanctuary. Also, a big welcome to those of you who are joining us on YouTube Live. Hi, folks out there in internet land. You're an important part of our community, too. Make sure you sign up for our weekly newsletter so you can learn about all the fun things going on here at the Oakland Center. Now, let's take a moment to bless our children wherever they are. We honor all our youth and children in our community and the world. We love you, we see you, your Spirit's gift to us. Thank you for being in our lives, and so it is. In fact, if you were here last week, you got to hear from the teens who had just gotten back from CSL camp up in Oregon. It was a powerful experience for them, and we are so happy to be able to support that activity. Next Wednesday, August 3rd, Paul Presutti and Dr. Dan team, led by practitioner Dodi Cheney-Fernandez and congregant Deborah Jackson, takes us into a special and vivid exploration of the daily devotional reading of Dr. Daniel Lee Morgan, entitled Coordination of Spirit, Soul, and Body, from his book, Guidance for a Spiritual Journey. The monthly theme for August is nature, and the first week, the theme is Earth Force. Report for duty, or maybe I should say, Earth Force. So make sure to report for duty next Wednesday. Go to the events page to download a copy of the reading, which will be discussed. Meditations at 6:30. Services at 7. Wednesday nights are going to continue on Zoom. Our glorious bookstore is open after service, thanks to all the hard work by Linda Wyman. You can exit through the bookstore and check out all the new books and spiritual gift items right behind that secret door. We don't have time to cover the plethora of activities here at the center, but we have lots of ways for you to find out about them. For details of upcoming events, workshops, and classes, please go to the Thursday Village News, our newsletter, our website, oaklandcsl.org, especially under the Events tab. We usually have a welcome table in the courtyard, although I've been informed it may not be there today. It's hiding. And we have a rotating slideshow before and after service that highlights some of these items as well. Now, please read along with me as we read our vision and mission statement, which will magically appear. It did. Magic. The vision of the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living is to joyfully reveal the love and oneness of God. We are a welcoming and inclusive spiritual community dedicated to individual transformation and collective growth. Our purpose is to love, inspire, and serve our community and the world through education, music, prayer, and play. And so it is. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook for special updates and content you'll only find by subscribing to OCSL. Have a great week.
Good morning. My name is Dodi Cheney-Fernandez, religious science practitioner emeritus. Please focus on the qualities we are calling forth for our senior ministers. Our minister should be on the PowerPoint. A copy of the covenant is in the seat pocket in front of you for reference. If you so choose, now let's take a quiet moment to call forth these qualities, recognizing that this covenant is the culmination of our visioning as a community and as individuals. Let us take this time to go within and call forth these qualities we seek in our new minister or ministers, as well as embodying them within ourselves as we bring about our greatest good. We have two readings. The first reading from Ernest Holmes. I believe that God is to each one what that person is to God. The divine nature must be infinite. We know only as much of this nature as we embody. And the second reading is Rumi. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And let's go within. You may close your eyes, get comfortable. Knowing that there's only one life, it's the life of God that is within, around, and through each of us. That this power, this presence, this energy, this divine good is opening every avenue in our lives to fulfill peace and harmony, joy, health, and happiness. The clarity of God's good flows through us, so we let go of anything and everything that's blocking us from good. Whatever needs to take place in your life for an uplifting, for clarity, for knowingness that you're not in this alone, that God is right where you are. This power, this presence, this energy, this goodness is reflected in all we think, say, and do. Allow yourself to know that you're one with God, the unconditional love, that you're one with God, the beauty of life, inside and out. Allow yourself to experience God's power that's everywhere present, sustaining and maintaining us. Allow yourself to know that the goodness of God is your life, and everything is revealing itself in the right and perfect way for your highest and best good. I give thanks for this. I give thanks for a wonderful presentation today by Constance and Judith, that our opening to knowing the truth and hearing the truth and reflecting it in our lives is fulfilled, and in this day, and all is well. For all of this and so much more, I give great thanks for it. So please, let's anchor this prayer by saying together, and so it is.
This is a song called Believe in Love. I definitely think that it embodies what you were just speaking about, Dodie. And yeah, I hope that it lifts you up this morning. Love is like a shooting star. It can come out of nowhere and shine where you are. Love will take you on a ride where your heart and your soul are on the outside. You can't hide, no, you can't hide open. Love will stand through the rain. It will comfort you in darkness and wash away the pain. Oh, love. Oh, love, love, love. Love can come in the silence. It can come when you don't decide it. Love can creep up on you and get into your heart when you don't want it to. And sometimes love can hurt, and sometimes we don't get what we deserve. But in time, it will work. You just gotta trust and believe. Believe in love. Oh, believe in love. Yeah, believe in love. Oh, just believe, 'cause it believes in you. It believes in you. Oh, you can trust it too. Oh, just believe, believe in love. Shout out to Doug over here.
All right, so thank you. And I want to say that I remember that little slip of a thing, this tall, standing up on this stage and raising the roof on this place. And I'll tell you, this ceiling used to be a little bit lower, but she raised it when she was just about 8 years old, singing Holy, Holy, Holy. And it is so wonderful to have her back, along with Doug. So thank you. And I hope we see a lot more of you. So also, I want to acknowledge that Oakland Center is in Hutchin, in unseceded List Jan territory, for hundreds. And the reason that this is important, and I hope that my goal is that we do this every Sunday, and to acknowledge this, because it's important that, particularly this, with our topic today of the one and only, that we remember and acknowledge the hundreds of generations of people who belong to this land. They never owned it, they belong to it. It's a very different life view, and something that's very important, one that we could start to adopt. And the other thing that if you don't know is that Glen Echo Creek runs underneath us. That when they bought this property to build this place, there was a creek running through it, and so there was infill put in here from the first cut of the Caldecott Tunnel. And that Glen Creek is underground. And it actually brings a little sadness to my heart every time I think of that water running underground instead of and kids playing in it and fish growing in it, and it goes into Lake Merritt. So here's the important thing that that I want to share with you today. And my name is, and I was supposed to introduce us, and I forgot all about that. I always do. So Reverend Cherry is on vacation. She's well-deserved vacation. And so I'm supposed to introduce myself and Judith today. So I've already introduced myself. My name's Constance Chapman. I'm a practitioner. And Judith will be speaking after me, who's also a practitioner. And so since God is all there is, our relationship with God in all its forms is either discordant or harmonious by our choosing. Let that sink in. Each day, each moment, we reassess how we choose to show up in this loving and divine relationship. So I want to repeat that. Since God is all there is, our relationship with God in all its forms is either discordant or harmonious by our choosing. Each day, each moment, we reassess how we choose to show up in this loving and divine relationship. So what does this mean, and how does it show up in our lives? It shows up in how we treat ourselves. It shows up in how we treat each other. It shows up in how we talk about and with people we don't agree with, politically and otherwise. It shows up in how we treat this land on which we stand and how we acknowledge the land. It shows up in everything we do, since God is all forms, no exceptions. So that's a spiritual truth, simple and yet very difficult sometimes to actually live. And I started thinking about this when I was preparing to leave on vacation to spend a week in a beach house with 14 relatives. As I was preparing, I kept thinking of Ram Dass's words, "If you think you're enlightened, go spend a week with your family." So my younger sister has been the mover and shaker to get us together in various configurations as often as possible. And I think she's actually a second family. She was a menopause baby. And she's cared for her mother-in-law and her stepmother through their transitions. And I think she's acutely aware of how the time we have together is precious. So for that, I'm really blessed that she is so aware of that. And so we've done this enough that I've become aware of the joys and challenges. So I wanted to go prepared with the mindset of choosing how I wanted to be and not go into a default mode. So I realized that in order to have a smooth and harmonious relationship with my family, I knew I had to have a smooth and harmonious relationship with myself. Well, I've done a great deal of work on family patterns and issues, and let me emphasize that I'm not enlightened, knew that old childhood patterns could and would show up. It was my choice how to respond to them. So I went with an intention to enjoy each one of my relatives and to respond, not react. I went with curiosity, to respond with love and kindness, and to be conscious of any time I was falling into an unconscious response. Has anyone ever here done that? Gone home and transformed into a 3-year-old or a 10-year-old or a sullen, rebellious teen? So I went with an open mind, expecting to have a relaxing, fun vacation. So Ernest Holmes and other New Thought teachers talk about the importance of expectancy, which I think of as a belief that something will come to pass paired with confidence. Wayne Dyer talks about intention, not the standard business model definition of having a purpose accompanied by a plan and determination to make it happen. That's an ego-based definition, which is fine. It's very appropriate in certain places. But he turned to Carlos Castaneda for a spiritual definition of intention. And Carlos Castaneda says, "Intent is a force that exists in the universe." So what that means, it's already there. It might be what we call the law. And Carlos Castaneda goes on, he says, "When sorcerers, those who live by the source, beckon intent, it comes to them and sets up the path." So I chose to go with a particular intent. And so the path was already being set up for me before I left. And I could have gone with a different mindset. I could have gone with the belief that my older sister would want to organize everything, that we'd compete over card games and compete over who cooks the most and the best. I could have gone with that and I would have found it, because some of those things did happen, but I chose not to focus on them. So in addition to reframing thoughts that were not serving me by not engaging in those family patterns, those patterns became much clearer to me, and the role I play in them became much clearer to me. The thing about family patterns is that they don't stay in the family. Wouldn't it be great if we could just pack them up with our family photos and put them on the shelf? But they don't. They come out and they join us in the rest of our lives. We know, but we also know in this philosophy that that's not a life sentence. We can and we do change our minds. We change our patterns. So Ernest Holmes tells us, my expectancy looks up and out and beholds a limitless abundance present everywhere, flowing through all things, a limitless love giving of itself to everything, an infinite peace enveloping all. So what I found that was by seeing family patterns without the emotional hook, I was able to begin to unhook when I came back here and had some of those same things show up in my life. So that I was able to deal with other people in this community differently. So every moment we get to choose the relationship we have with God in all of life. Simple, huh? Well, we have practices that facilitate our living in right relationship with God. We have prayer, meditation, visioning, education, which is really important in this philosophy, and practitioner sessions. And the first relationship we have is with the sacred and the profane in ourselves, with both the divine and the humanness within. The second is with the people around us, family, community. While diving into the meaning of the two main qualities in our new minister covenant, unity and wisdom, I came to the insight that unity is the belief, community is the practice. So that really gave me a whole different view of community. So what do you think of community now? I know I've met people who've come here, they haven't been interested, they've been very hesitant to join because community for them was not a place that was safe particularly. So how would your view of community change if you thought of it as a spiritual practice? How would you show up? So right now, do you show up in person, or have you chosen to take part in your own home? And if you take part from home, how does that change your spiritual practice of community? When Bea was singing earlier and there was some clapping going on, I was just remembering the days when almost every seat was filled and people were actually standing up and I understand there's a lot of reasons people aren't coming in these days, but by God, we miss you. We miss you. Our vision and mission statement says we are an inclusive and welcoming community dedicated to individual transformation and collective growth. That's our intent. And that's the covenant we make every Sunday when we read it. I was on a call a few weeks ago with 4 ministers from 4 different communities talking about education, and they were asked, how many do you have in your community? And every single one of them said, we don't know now. We know how many are in the sanctuary, but we don't know how many are actually in the community anymore. So how can we have collective growth as a community if we don't know who's here? We don't know who's in and out. So Christina Baldwin says, covenants are made on faith. They are an intuitive process, agreements of the heart. When an agreement needs to be changed, we can get together and think about it. So if we or if a new minister decided it's time to change our vision statement, we could come together as a community and we could do that. But she goes on, and this is really important. When a covenant has been broken, emotions are often unleashed that are very hard to articulate. And we've probably all experienced that, whether you've gone through a divorce, whether you've gone through a relationship where someone has betrayed you. It's probably there's a covenant that's been broken, whether it's been spoken or unspoken. So how we respond to a break in a covenant or agreement will depend on where we're coming from. My practitioner, who I saw for many, still see, said to me for several years that it depends on where you're coming from. And it took me several years to understand what that meant. I would just listen and go, and go home and go, I don't know. So if I'm coming from a place of internal harmony and peace, my interactions with my family, my community will be very different if I'm coming from a place of self-doubt or self-judgment. So I want to go back to what I started with. Since God is all there is, our relationship with God in all its forms is either harmonious or discordant by our choosing. Each day, each moment, we reassess how to choose to show up in this loving and divine relationship. And so I just want to say that I think that I came up with Reverend Sally used to come up with these little initials that spelled out something to teach. And so I came up with the one CAP, which is I'm going to cap what I've said today, which is that in order to actually live that, we need to be able to commit to whatever covenant we have made with ourselves. We need to allow ourselves to actually experience community and everything else, and we need to practice. And so how we choose will depend on where we're coming from, what intentions, what commitments we've made. And I want to leave you with this affirmation. John, can you put that up, please? No, the affirmation is, I own and accept each relationship in my life as an opportunity to grow and expand. Did you find it, John? No, he didn't find it. So I want to leave that with you, that's one that you can, okay, I own and accept each relationship in my life as an opportunity to grow and expand. And so it is, and I pass my word to Judith Roberts.
Okay, can you hear me? Thank you, Constance. That was inspiring, and you'll see a lot of synchronicities between what you offered and what I'm offering. So I'm Judith Roberts. I'm also a licensed practitioner here, and it's wonderful to see you all here, and those of you who are watching online as well. And as Constance said, our topic for today is the one and only. Our theme for the month is relationships. So as I was contemplating this topic, I was thinking about the question, if God is all there is, and God is everywhere, the divine is everywhere, where does God show up in the realm of war? Where does God show up in the situation of chaos, or of tragedy, or of intentional cruelty and violence? Where is it? And I've come to understand by reading many people and also just contemplating and going within that the divine is everywhere. It is within each human being, and that it is our choice as to how we experience it and how we express it. And it doesn't play favorites. Ernest Holmes said, "The universe is impersonal. It gives alike to all. It is no respecter of persons. It values each alike. Its nature is to impart. Ours is to receive." And I love that term, no respecter of persons, that we're all, quote unquote saint and sinner, quote unquote, the angelic being and those who are creating chaos and fear and violence in the world, all are receiving that divine impress equally, because the divine has no favorites. So I was thinking about Greg Braden and what he teaches in his book, Secrets of the Last Mode of Prayer. He says that in the midst of whatever the challenge is, the trial, to bless the sufferers, bless the cause of the suffering, and to bless all of the witnesses and those who are left behind, which is challenging. It may be very difficult to do, but here's what he says about it. He says, blessing doesn't condone or make excuses for any atrocity or act of suffering. It doesn't put a stamp of approval on a hurtful event or suggest that we would ever choose to re-experience it. What blessing does is to free us from our painful experiences. It acknowledges that those events have occurred. When we do so, our feelings about those experiences move through our bodies instead of getting stuck inside them. In this way, blessing is the key to reaching Rumi's field beyond wrongdoing and right doing. You may remember this beautiful quote from Rumi. It's part of a much longer poem, but he says, there is a field out beyond wrongdoing and right doing. There is a field. I will meet you there. So that's what Greg Braden is referring to there. And then he says, when we can find it within ourselves to bless the people and things that hurt us, we become new. So this blessing practice is one that we can, to the extent we're able, implement every day. So I'd like to share with you excerpts from a letter of a woman who embodies this. This letter was a letter of gratitude written to one of her teachers. Her name is Lena, and she's in the Ukraine, and she wrote this about 2 months ago. I'll tell you a little bit of her background before I read these excerpts. She went through another war in 2014, and she said at that time, she said, I was torn apart by emotions. I screamed in pain and injustice. I was furious. I wanted to bang my head against the wall. I wanted to take a machine gun and go out and shoot the enemies. But now, in this war, she chose to stay. She felt intuitively she needed to stay. And she said most of the time, despite all of the events, we felt good. She's speaking about her and her mother. We felt good, sometimes very good. We felt calm and peaceful inside. We felt safe, rarely felt fear. Even when the shelling did not stop all day and rockets flew over us, at these moments, we could sit in a room and drink tea, joke and laugh. Sometimes fear appeared at night when there were air raids and bombs were dropped on us. But as soon as the planes flew away, the fear also left. And what is most interesting is that even at the moment when fear was there was a parallel feeling that we were safe, It was very unusual. And she said that they had no electricity for several weeks. They had no light, no flashlights, no candles, no water. The shops, the stores had no food, but they'd go out. And she said these synchronicities would happen. And they would get what they need. She said before going hunting for food, we prayed that we would be able to buy everything we needed, and it always happened. In one case, she says they waited in line for 7 hours, and she said, I love to read. I brought a book with me, and I read in line, and it actually was pleasant. Everything was synchronistic. We were at the right time in the right place and relatively quickly got what we needed. There were cases when we received help in places where it was not given to others. Then we took more food and shared it with other people. So the part of this letter that I thought was most extraordinary and is really speaking to our topic today, she says, I do not feel like a victim. I do not feel anger, hatred, and condemnation. I have no struggle. I don't blame anyone for anything. I have no desire to prove that someone is right and someone is wrong. I have no fanatical feeling that justice must prevail. When I read about those terrible things that people in other cities have experienced and are experiencing, I feel love and compassion. I have tears in my eyes, but there is no pain. When I read about raped women and children, I get a bad thought about those who did it, and I get a little angry, but it quickly disappears. And after a few seconds, I'm back to normal. I want to hug everyone, including Russians. I think a lot about the bright future that awaits us and what exactly I can do to hasten its arrival. Every day I give Diksha, and Diksha is a form of blessing. So here we're back to the subject of blessing. Every day I give Diksha so that the hearts of all people on the planet awaken to unity, love, and compassion. I pray that we will see the truth, that peace will come to the people's souls. I share with friends my experience of transformation. I also continue to work on myself, do sadhanas, which are practices, and work on my projects, the goal of which is to help people free themselves from suffering and live a happier and fulfilling life. So this is a real letter. It's a real person, real letter from the middle of the Ukraine. So I think she's an inspiration to all of us because she went through this incredible transformation just over a few years. And she's in a very, very different place right now. And she's embodying what we're talking about of the divine within and finding peace within and finding her source of happiness and joy within. I wanted to share this story that you've probably heard before, but it's I'm gonna repeat it just as a reminder, and for those who haven't heard it, that there was a woman named, she was a Cherokee chief, and she was the first woman Cherokee chief. She passed away in 2010. Her name was Wilma Mankiller, and she wore a pendant around her neck with 2 wolves on the pendant. And a child asked her what the wolves meant. Why are you wearing 2 wolves? And she said, well, there's a good wolf and a bad wolf. The good wolf represents our higher nature, our better angels. The bad wolf represents the baser part of our nature. Constance referred to the discordant and the harmonious. We could think of it that way too. And the child said, well, who wins? And she said, whichever one I feed the most. We all have both of those wolves inside of us. And we have choice. It comes back again to choice. How am I focusing myself? Where am I going? What am I going to feed? What am I choosing to emphasize? And it's a daily practice. Am I going to say no to fear? Am I going to choose freedom over fear? Am I going to choose love over resentment and bitterness or hatred? It's a daily practice that we have, and it's so in line with exactly what Constance was saying, just saying it in different way, in different words. So, in conclusion, I want to share with you a reading that I found in a book. It's not attributed to anyone, so I can't tell you who said it, but I think it's really timely for us. If you want to be strong, be gentle. If you want to be powerful, be kind. If you want to be rich, be generous. If you want to be smart, be simple. If you want to be free, be yourself. So, thank you. Thank you. So now we're going to just move into prayer. And if you'll just take a moment and close your eyes, or not, as you choose, and take a breath. Take a breath with me. Knowing that this is the breath of the divine, this is the breath of life. This is the breath of the mystery, the one that gives us life. That presence that is right here and right now. That is always, always enfolding, loving, nourishing, guiding each and every one of us all the time. It is magnificent. It is beyond words. It is beyond comprehension, but it is knowable. It is something we can find within ourselves that we can access. And it is right here and right now. And so as I enjoy that spirit, that divine mind, that one, the one and only, I speak my word for this month's nonprofit partner, Save the Redwoods League, which envisions vibrant redwood forests of the scale and grandeur that once graced the California coast and the Sierra Nevada, protected forever, restored to grow old once again, and connected to people through a network of magnificent parks and protected areas that inspire all of us with the beauty and power of nature. And I speak a word for our planet Mother Earth, gratitude for her beauty and resilience, and our increasingly mindful stewardship of her, that she is nourishing us, supporting us, allowing us to be here in health, just appreciating her beauty and magnificence and goodness, and blessing our youth and the youth of our world, knowing that they are guided by loving mind and heart and spirit, and blessing all of those in service, creating a world that works for everyone. And I offer a word of love and comfort and peace of mind and healing for all those impacted by challenges in whatever way, whether it be a personal challenge, a family challenge, whether it be a natural disaster, as in Kentucky, or as in the California wildfires, whatever it may be. Love and comfort for those experiencing these challenges. And I also speak a word specifically for Richard Williams, for Claudette Stiles, for Jerry Arbogast, for Louis Thompson, and for Taylor, and for all of the prayers in the prayer box. Anyone who has offered a prayer in the prayer box, those prayers are being received and being answered as we speak, right here and right now. And let us continue to hold our world in prayer, knowing that peace is possible in the Ukraine, as well as other parts of the world experiencing war, and for everyone impacted by violence of any type. Let us pray for continued wholeness and safety from the pandemic and any and all viruses and illnesses. And I speak a word of comfort and love for those who have transitioned to another dimension of life. For Ron Gardner, the brother of Teresa Gardner, holding Teresa and her mother and her sister in prayer and sending our blessings for their family. And now please go within your heart and say the names of anyone in need of a prayer today and speak them into the space here. You can speak them out loud or you can speak them silently, but we'll just take a moment and let those names come forward. So thank you. With gratitude, these blessings are sent and received. And so it is. Amen. And so now I turn this back to Constance, who will be speaking about, well, you can tell them what you're speaking about. Thank you.
This is our sacred giving time. And if Reverend Jerry was here, she would at this point say, let's give our speakers another round of applause. And I find that really hard to do because very bizarre. But anyway, I did it. So this is our sacred giving time. This is the time. Sacred giving is one of the most spiritual things you could do. It is because we give in many ways. Financially allows us to keep the doors open. It allows us to do all the things that we do. And so let's just start by doing our sacred giving affirmation, John, if that would be okay. So, I give and receive freely and generously with an open heart and open mind, blessing the flow of prosperity in the world. And as you know, there's many different ways to give. This is what we use if you've been auto-tithed, which really does help the church a whole lot if you auto-tithe. You can also use the donate button on the website. You can also do Zelle, you can text to give, and you can mail in a check, or just drop a check in the basket. You can drop a check in the basket and then go through the bookstore to tithe to them as well. So, so with that, let's just have our musicians come back, and we'll just raise the roof again.
Okay, this is another original song called Silver Lining. It'll be releasing soon. You can find me anywhere under B. DeVoe. And I hope you enjoy it. Okay. Alrighty. Get my foot up here. sorry. Okay. Oh, can y'all hear me? Yeah. Okay. I can see the silver lining from over here. Oh, I can see the silver lining from over here. Huh. A beam of light coming from the sky. It gives me hope, and it tells me the reason why this wheel is turning. And sometimes it seems like it's not for me, but I know that I'm learning and I'm growing. I can see the silver lining from over here. Ooh, yeah, I can see the silver lining from over here. Hey, it's been getting darker these days. It's too easy to sit and wallow in the pain. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So I had to lift up my head towards the sky, and I finally see the silver line. I can see the silver lining from here. I can see the silver lining from over here. Hey, oh, I can see the silver lining from over here, from over there, from anywhere. It's getting better, it's getting brighter, it's getting better every day. Oh, I can see the light. 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 Oh, I can see the silver lining. I can see the silver I can see the light. Oh, 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 I can see the light. Oh, I can see the light. Yeah, I can see the light. I can see the light. Thank you.
Let's give our musicians some more love. And we will thank our speakers, Constance and Judith. Let's give them some love. Thank all of you for coming surely hope you had a wonderful time. We had a wonderful time with you. The practitioners will be available after service in the back of the sanctuary if you'd like to speak with someone to share a joy or concern. They're available to you. And let's do the closing affirmation. Nothing? Okay. Where I am, repeat after me. Where I am, God is. Where I go, God is. So, knowing that all is well, we give thanks for a wonderful service today and know that the God in you is being revealed at all times. Amen.
Amen. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release, I let go. I let my Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release. Oh, I release and I let it go. I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.